It's getting closer for the US to have a stash of digital goods. What does that really mean, though? Does that store have things in it like XRP? We will talk about all of those things and more in this film. Many more pieces of XRP news have come out, and they are all brand new. Let's start right away. I'll tell you a lot of things that you probably didn't know before I play this movie. Let's start. Countries have been saving goods since the beginning of time. Now, big economies store everything from metal to pork, energy sources like oil, and valuable metals like gold and silver, as well as soybeans. On account of this, it is very common to store physical goods or goods that naturally appear from the ground. We're talking about collecting Bitcoin right now, which is the first digital good ever. Additionally, the process of saving digital goods is very similar to the process of storing physical goods. So I don't think that's unrealistic for a number of reasons, such as controlling prices on the world market and meeting local needs. Nations keep goods for themselves. Countries store gold to change the price of gold around the world. They keep oil in storage to change the price of oil around the world. Also, it doesn't surprise me that countries like the US would want to hold on to Bitcoin to control how it is used around the world, and finally, its price, as well as to keep resources for their own use. Okay, let's take a quick look at what's going on. It's clear that the US has more Bitcoin than, say, XRP. Because of XRP, you could do a lot more things, right? But we'll talk about that in a moment. For those of you who don't know what a strategic stockpile is, the US currently has about 395 million barrels of strategic fuel reserves. There is a strategic national reserve that has vaccines, antibodies, and other things in March 2025. In the national defense stockpile, things like rare earths and other strategic resources are kept. Galania and blue, there are more, but I won't list them here. New videos or skills on YouTube. It talks about here's the word. I'm not going to say it. To be clear, they might choose to block the video. We also plan to store a lot of other things, of course. Should people start saving US reserves or Bitcoin or Ethereum? That is, which makes more sense when you're talking about digital asset stocks. Remember what the Trump administration's main goal is. Trump has said that he wants other countries to use American technology. Bitcoin is a US invention, unless it was made by a three-letter body, which would cause a lot of other problems. Then why not XRP, but Bitcoin? Why will hold on to Bitcoin? I want to do some of this study around that. In this way, the US stores digital goods. So this is the US's latest plan. The US is building a strategic Bitcoin store with assets taken back. Recent executive orders say that these assets may have been used for illegal operations like the Silk Road, or they could be taken by the government if you break the law, and have a lot of cryptocurrency that they find was bought with stolen money. There are two governments in the United States, the federal government and the state governments. This is the biggest problem we are facing right now. A big part of this coin is also controlled by the government. How then can you get it from the government? That's what they've been working on most in the background, the federal government. The government keeps a digital asset store for other cryptocurrencies as well, but it doesn't have any big plans to buy anything but Bitcoin, which is a big mistake. Understand that Bitcoin is not needed for the future of finance, but strategic choice favors known safe and widely liquid assets, especially those that are important. They told us that. No matter how much Bitcoin someone has, they all say that it is a digital source of value. There are no digital gold payment rails that use it. If that wasn't the only reason, why would the US want to keep it so secret? Then you start to wonder why countries like the US wouldn't follow Ripple's lead and buy XRP to create their own on-demand funding system where they could store XRP for possible future value. You can use it as the payment rails cash asset. That makes a lot of sense. I think that some very smart people will walk in a room and start talking about how Bitcoin can be used in different situations. Like as a digital wallet, is there something else? Are there any other people who think we should buy Bitcoin? Not at all. Okay, let's take a look at XRP. In what ways can XRP help? The same problem can be solved with Bitcoin. This technology can be used to make a digital store of value, used to make payments turn cash assets into tokens, and make bridge assets. It's like you start with something. Bitcoin isn't as good as other cryptocurrencies when it comes to benefits, according to Ben Franklin's study of the pros and cons of different choices. Okay, the US government's blockchain policy is based on payments for blockchain infrastructure. This policy stresses how important it is for the US to protect the assets that support digital value transfer and cross-border payments. Does that sound like Bitcoin? Not at all. Bitcoin is still the basic reserve because it has a fixed quantity and a strong network value. Ethereum is not in Switzerland, but it is often talked about as a basic programmable object for tokenization. Since XRP is already used by institutions and has been recognized by recent governments or pilots, it is in a unique situation to be used for real-time settlement, on-demand liquidity, and payments. It makes the most sense to do that. When you think about what Ripple has done so far, it makes the most sense. Okay, I was going to show it to you. More than 17 trillion will be put into the United States, according to President Trump. But hearing that almost 17 trillion will be put into this country over the next few months makes me very happy. In fact, we started the day we got there. November 5th was a very important day. It was Freedom Day in many ways. Emancipation comes in a lot of different forms, but we do have something that I don't think any other country has ever had. There will be over $17 trillion invested in our country, which is a lot more than what is being spent right now. You can trust that we will look at the good, the bad, and the ugly on this channel. I try to learn more about the 17 trillion so's. At this time, there is no proof to support the claim that the United States has spent 17 trillion. Announcements made during the campaign make the number seem like a big lie. Most trustworthy sites and fact checkers say the real number is between 2,000 and 500 trillion. It's more than that. Investment plans, vows, and other long-term plans are good for making up the great majority of the 17 trillion. Because of this, it's not possible that this money will be invested anytime soon. This will last for a long time, the next 5 to 10 years. Also, most of these promises aren't legally binding, neither politically nor aspirationally. So if a country doesn't keep its financial promises to the US, there aren't usually any legal consequences right away. In other words, each country can say whatever it wants. They can make anything like the promises. If they don't do what they say, there's nothing that can be done. So always pay attention to what happens instead of what other people say. That's all I want to say about it. A lot of people in my town have been talking about the 17 trillion that is coming into the United States, but I can't find any real evidence to back this up. I want to let you know that Sirs for Finance, GOP, says the Senate needs to pass the Clarity Act so that the U.S. can stay the leader in digital banking. Now, the Republican-run banking services are telling everyone in the U.S. and the rest of the world that making digital assets clear is one of the most important things that needs to be done right away. Hence, this will be a problem for both parties. However, it's possible that this would not have been finished without the work of Republicans. Because of this, I give them a tip of my fake hat. Lee, thank you for all the work you've put into making this happen so that we can all be happy. Institutions, 401ks, IRAs, national wealth funds, and other investors who want to put money into digital assets will be able to do so thanks to new rules. What is it? That's right. What a safety.